the former House Speaker. Rick, thanks for being with us again. It's nice to have you back.
Glad to be here.
We hear, at least I hear, I'll speak only for myself here, when Mr. Gingrich talked tonight about the president as an entertainer-in-chief, as somebody who ought to stop singing and deal with the real problems of the country, coming on the heels of him calling him a food stamp president, I hear racially coded language there. I hear Mr. Gingrich trying to appeal to Southern white conservatives who may be responding to essentially racially biased coded language about the president that's designed to call on the resentment of African-American achievement in this country. Am I wrong to see it that way?
It's baloney. And you know, MSNBC ought to get off this race-baiting kick. If you want to talk about race-baiting, if you want to talk about the Republican Party was started by Abraham Lincoln. We fought a civil war. The 6 of the 9 planks in 1856 platform were civil rights platforms. This started as a civil rights party. If you go back to the 1856 Democratic platform, it's a racist platform. So we can go down this road, but
what about
the Republican
tonight,
Party
though?
has a proud history.
What about tonight?
Well,
what about? I mean, you can talk about what happened to the parties after the Civil War and through Reconstruction and through this century, through this past century.
Right. And the guy who stood in the.
Let me just finish the question, and then I promise I'll shut up. Food stamp president. That I will go to the NAACP and tell them to be dissatisfied with food stamps and that they should demand paychecks. And this president is an entertainer-in-chief and ought to stop singing and start dealing with the real problems of the country. There is a pattern here of very, I think, obviously racially coded language that has nothing to do with the parties in the Civil War.
I don't understand this. I mean, the president sings, Newt Gingrich makes a little thing, and all of a sudden it's a racist thing. More people are on food stamps today because of Barack Obama. And look, the Democratic Party, look, they fail in their schools. You can ask Al Sharpton about that. I think he would agree that the Democrats have failed in the public schools with the African Americans. They abort their babies. They've done nothing to lift them out of poverty. And you know what? I mean, I hear all the time that the Democrats have these great intentions, but their policies fail. Maybe we have good intentions too, but our policies haven't been tried. How about we just accept that we both have the right intentions for everybody to rise out of poverty, and you talked about that before, and that maybe we should try our policies that put people back to work and not give them a handout, tell them to live in public housing, shut up, collect a check, and vote for Democrat.
Yeah,
I don't accept that. I don't buy this race baiting.
That is not what Newt Gingrich said. Newt Gingrich is who brought race up in this campaign. He didn't say...
Tell me when he did, Al.
I'm getting ready to tell you. He said, and I'm quoting him, that he would go to the NAACP and tell black people to stop being satisfied with food stamps. He didn't say people on food stamps. He says black people don't be satisfied with food stamps, that they should demand jobs. He said that black people in communities, that youngsters don't have role models. This is not what he said when he went on the tour with Me for Education, a tour that President Obama asked him to go on. So he's brought race in the campaign by name. You cannot then turn around and act like Rachel or I bringing up race. Wait a minute. I'm going to let you finish, but I'm going to finish this part. He brought up race. Now you need to answer his bringing up. If he didn't want to deal with race, why did he bring up race? And it is a patent untruth that President Obama has more people on food stamps. More people went on food stamps, new food stamp recipients, under George Bush than under President Obama. Would you call him a food stamp president?
We're not running against George Bush. We're running against Barack Obama and his failed policies.
Answer the fact. If more people went on food stamps under George Bush, since you just said that Obama had more, that is factually incorrect.
Al, 98% of African Americans vote Democrat. Okay? And what have they gotten for it? They've gotten poor schools, poor neighborhoods, crime-ridden neighborhoods, a destruction of the family, and the Democrats want to abort their babies. So, that's their position. I'm not going to defend that. That's not the Republican position. That's the Democrat position.
Black people that voted Democrat because the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, and many of their members of Congress...
Which more Republicans as a percentage voted for than Democrats.
That we vote our interests when the Republicans were the Abe Lincoln Party and was the party in Little Rock. We voted Republican. Like anybody else in America, sir, we vote our interests.
Listen,
Republican or not. Why would we vote for people that call our parents criminals, that says that you can't even admit you're wrong on the facts on food stamps? We're not sadists or masochists.
I haven't said the Republican Party has done a good job of reaching out to African Americans. I think Newt Gingrich has tried to reach out to African Americans and said there is another party, there is another set of policies that work better for the American family, including the African American family, that there are better schools, that there's a way to prosperity, there's a way to earn a paycheck, there's a way to get ahead in life, and it doesn't mean depending on the Democratic Party for handouts. That's why Newt has brought race into it. He hasn't brought in race from the white perspective that you all say. He's brought it in to appeal to African Americans that they might actually vote for a different way, that Republicans may in fact have good intentions just like Democrats do, but your policies fail and our policies work.
Well, what is this policy? I mean, reprimanding them, saying that they don't have role models in their community is a policy. Saying the only things they see is crime is a policy.
Let me tell you a story.
Saying that they get more food stamps when they don't is a policy. What is this policy?
Let me tell you a story about role models.
Now, let me tell me about policy. Why don't you tell me what these policies are?
You asked me about role models. I'd like to answer the question about role models. We just showed this movie, Red Tails, over across the state in Jacksonville. And you know who showed up? Military families. You know what color they were? They were African American. You know who they brought? Their kids. You know why? Because finally, Hollywood made a movie that had patriotic African Americans who are part of American history that they could say, these are my role models. You know why they showed up? Because they don't have any.
No, they have many. They have doctors, they have lawyers, we have many role models.
Sure they do. Sure they do, but Hollywood doesn't show that. And you know what they get on MSNBC? Is race baiting. Do you think they listen to that?
When he went on Education Taught Me, which is why I know that he is demagoguing. He knows better than that. He knows that parents are trying to get their children an education. He went and met with them. Then he flips the script and all of a sudden acts like they don't exist. Those role models, we've been in the military and in many things for many years. Red Tails is telling a story about 70 years ago.
Al, you're arguing with yourself. I'm agreeing with you.
No, you're not.
Yes.
You're not agreeing with me. What you're trying to do is rationalize something that is irrational. Mr. Gingrich has not laid out a policy. He has tried to use us as a backboard to score with what he perceives as far right-wing voters, and is really unfair and is beneath what he said he was trying to do before. It really is.
Al, I don't see it. I'm sorry you see it that way. I don't see it that way.
Rick,
I see this appeal to African...
Sorry, go ahead.
Sure. I'm just saying, I just don't see it that way. I'm just saying that I think Newt Gingrich is actually trying to make a genuine appeal. I've worked on African-American outreach as a Republican. I've worked on Latino outreach as a Republican because I think they have a home in the Republican Party. I've done that for 10 years. So has Newt Gingrich. I don't think he's changed any of his views about that or is trying to appeal to some segment. If you can't win across the board on American values, that includes African Americans, Hispanics, Asian, whatever. You know, we're all Americans. We share a common culture, and it includes hard work, playing by the rules, and you know, an even playing field to try to get ahead, an equal opportunity to get ahead. That's all we're asking for.
Rick, in terms of just bringing this back to where we started, this is the reason that I asked the question in the first place and why I think it's worth talking about. You have worked on African-American outreach for the Republican Party. A lot of good Republicans have done that. And I think that nobody has set that outreach back further than Newt Gingrich as a national leader, getting a lot of national attention this year, looking at African-American role models of achievement in this country, looking at the first African-American president in this country, calling him the entertainer-in-chief and the food stamp president. There's been nothing more racially divisive from a nationally prominent Republican in the past 5 years than what Newt Gingrich has done. And I think that you know how damaging it is, and I'd like you to say something that's not about MSNBC about what Newt Gingrich has done.
Look, MSNBC is very generous to me. I'm not trying to pan the network. I'm just saying that I hear a lot of race baiting, and I'm going to defend it. Newt is not trying to appeal to the lower angels of our nature. He's trying to he has said over and over again, he's trying to get all Americans ahead. Latinos, African Americans, all kinds, you know, it just offends me when someone says, because I know Newt Gingrich, and he has worked very hard to attract all kinds of people, from Latinos in particular, African Americans. Al, you know that he's worked with you on education.
Which is why I know what he's saying now is not what he said then. And I think that, and you yourself said, ask Al Sharpton, and you just don't like my answer since you asked it. And I do agree with Rachel, and I think that he has really brought race into this. I do not agree with you, Rick, that he's appealing to our lower angels. He may be appealing to some devils in people, but certainly not no angels. I think it's real devilish to say you're appealing to people by calling them food stamp people and calling their parents criminals and saying they have no role models. That is not appealing to people unless they're masochists.
Okay.
Rick,
What Republican, you criticize Democratic anti-poverty programs, and it's true that the war on poverty, as declared by Lyndon Johnson, the Democratic president, was not terribly successful.